Hi everyone, and welcome back to Pause for Self-Care. As promised at the end of last year, I told you that I would be speaking about empathy. And today is actually on the opposite end of the scale, but still on empathy. So it's all about dark empaths and exactly what they are.
In all of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth that could make bright our lives. In all of us, in our hearts, there's love and light that we must realize. We need to feel, we need to use this warmth.
Okay, so what exactly is a dark empath? We know that empaths are able to relate to other people's circumstances, their emotions, they feel those emotions, and they be able to help them, they're able to give back to them, they're able to care for them. But on the other hand of the scale, there's the dark empath. And they have that ability to relate to other people's circumstances, but they use it as a tool for themselves. They use it for personal gain or as a manipulation tactic. Okay, we have three types of empathy: cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and compassionate empathy. Cognitive empathy is the ability to understand someone's perspective and thoughts without getting emotionally involved. Emotional empathy is being able to feel the emotions someone else is feeling as if you were actually going through the experience too. Compassionate empathy is a combination of cognitive and emotional empathy, where you understand another perspective and your emotions respond as though you were in that situation. Does that help you understand a little bit more about empathy? Leave a comment below and let me know. How do dark empaths think and feel? They have a lack of pleasure from social rewards, despite feeling the need for attention. They have a high attunement to others' experiences and circumstances. They have an emotional distance, or what we'd call detachment. They also have a drive towards grandiosity, conflicted by self-criticism, really intense self-criticism. How do dark empaths act? Dark empaths have vindictive behaviors. They gossip, they bully, they intimidate, they use emotional manipulation tactics, or they take advantage of others. They have physical aggression towards others, and most of the time they're extroverts. They love to love bomb you. They act amazing around your family or in public and appear to be the perfect, loving person. But inside, they only want you for a reward for themselves. If it's a partner, they want you for your money. If it's your parent, they're not really a parent, they just have you as a status symbol, or they are, like my mother, keeping you, and as she said, taking responsibility. But she didn't really take responsibility. She was just keeping me away from my grandparents, who actually did love and care for me. And yeah, I think it's so important that we really understand dark empathy, because so many family members will look at a person and they'll say, wow, but they're so good to me. You don't know what's happening behind closed doors. You don't know what their motive is. And wow, that gossip is real. On to manipulation tactics. Common tactics of manipulation: gaslighting, love bombing, ghosting. If you want something from a dark empath, they will literally ghost you. They love playing the victim. Let's say dictum. What is a dictum? Somebody who acts like a dick and then cries about being the victim when they're called out for being a dick. Dark empath. They love sarcasm. Look, I love sarcasm, but I love to care for people and I love seeing people happy. So, yeah, having sarcasm on its own doesn't necessarily make you a horrible person or doesn't make you a dark empath. But putting all these things together can make a person a dark empath. They love to intimidate and they love to gossip. They can be very charming and put you on a pedestal, and then be the very person who will knock that pedestal down. If you are an avid crime docu watcher, wow, watcher, is that really a word? Viewer. Look, I absolutely adore watching my nighttime crime YouTubes. It relaxes me, and sometimes I relate to the victims on another level, but it also helps me understand my past and the abuse that I experienced. And I find it really interesting, but it also gives me some insight on actually to help people, strangely. Very, very strangely. Okay, I digress. When you watch these, you will notice that the dark triad is mentioned. It's traits known in psychology, and yeah, I think it's so important to recognize these and be able to understand them. So what is the dark triad? The dark triad is narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Okay. Yes, tongue-twisting words over there. But let me get to explain a little bit of them to you. Okay, we have narcissism. Narcissism is a trait that exists on a spectrum, and it can actually be a mental health diagnosis. Narcissism shows up as an inflated sense of self, a need for attention and admiration, and feelings of grandiosity. Psychopathy. The main characteristics associated with psychopathic traits include indifference toward someone else's needs or well-being, use of manipulation tactics, low impulse control, and the inability to feel remorse. And lastly, Machiavellianism. This isn't a formal mental health condition. It's a combination of personality traits and behaviors. So these might include cynicism, abusive behavior, vindictive behavior, and a use of emotional manipulation tactics. I bet if you have been in an emotionally abusive situation, you already have a picture in your mind of somebody who fits this description. When I was doing my research, everything just said my mother. It just screamed my mother. And a lot of people will say that she is this wonderful person and that she helped them so much. But what they don't know is everything she said behind their back. The nasty things she said behind their back. How she really feels about them. I remember her once helping this woman. She was... she was grieving. She lost her husband. She went into a severe depression. Her house was an absolute state. Her pool was green and had somebody threw goldfish in it, but the goldfish became like they could eat. Like what is the word? They became like piranhas. They were weird. Anyway, this poor woman had become an alcoholic because she couldn't cope with her grief. And back in those days, mental health wasn't spoken about like it is now. So she didn't have the help she needed. So in stepped my mother. Oh, I'll help you. I'll talk shit about you. But I'll make use of you for your money. Because she did have quite a bit of money. So they made use of her. And, oh, we'll do this to your pool to fix your pool. Take the fish out the pool. Oh, that's 200 Rand. Your pool is still green. We need another 500 Rand. You see what I mean? They acknowledge the pain in somebody else and they make use of it for their own gain. It's sick. It really is sick. Dark empaths usually experience cognitive empathy only when it allows them to maintain their distance emotionally. If they get emotionally involved, they pull out. The exact cause of a dark empath's traits is unknown. When it comes to empathy, though, a 2007 study revealed that structural or functional changes in the brain can alter how empathy is perceived and expressed. What's the difference between a dark empath and a narcissist? Narcissism is one of the 3 traits contributing to the dark empath personality. People living with narcissistic personality or disorder also live with a sense of grandiosity, entitlement, and superiority. And so do dark empaths. The difference can be that somebody living with narcissistic personality may not be as self-critical as dark empaths tend to be. Narcissists lack the ability to evaluate themselves. Now, that applies a lot to my mother because she always thinks that she's right. And she will fight you because she thinks she's right. She gets herself into trouble, and even if she's called out for it, even if she is wrong, she'll still believe that the other person is wrong. What I did see in my research is that the dark empath is not properly understood. And a lot of the time it doesn't show up with mental health terms or diagnosis. But still, I think it's so important to put those 3 from the dark triad together and to actually look at it as a person who has survived the abuse. Because once again, understanding what happened to you helps you understand and put into perspective that you were not wrong. Because right through when you were abused, you felt wrong. You were gaslit to be in such a situation that you felt that even though you were right, you thought you were crazy. So it's important to look at this and see where these explanations kind of fit in, so that you don't feel crazy in your mind and that you can go forward in your life with facts and the ability to grow and heal. And this is why I speak out, and I've said that so many times in my videos. It's so important that we're able to recognize how abused we actually were, because emotional abuse is so taboo in a lot of ways. We don't see it, and we need to see it. I hope that this information helped you in some way, and I hope you'll subscribe and return next week for another video. So until then, remember to pause for self-care.